Alright guys, quick deviation from the plant videos. All my videos are kind of based around self-sufficiency to some degree, and so taking care of tools, crafts, sewing, and all that's going to be a part of the channel too. And today I wanted to kind of show you me building a new knife sheath for my main carry. And this is one that I made, and this is what we're going to remake. As you can see, it has a real nice patina to it. Machine stitched, but the belt loop broke, and I think I just stitched too much in this area, and it kind of tore up the leather. So that was kind of probably an amateur mistake on my part. I'm still an amateur leather worker, but this is what we've made, what we're going to make in the video today. I've already got it here, and I'm starting to oil it up. This knife first came with a sheath that would fall out if it got turned upside down, or even if I ran when I wore it on my belt. So these sheaths, this style of sheath really solves that issue. As you can see, there's no give whatsoever and still fairly easy to pull out. And yes, my knife's broken. This knife's been with me for a long time. The tip's been broken off, the handle's broken. I'll eventually replace the handle and I'll show you all that. But it works really well to grab the knife. So let's get started. Alright, I'm out here just on my porch, and I've soaked a nice piece of saddle leather. And I have my knife here, and I have clamps. So this is my first stage. I'm going to get this clamped up, and we'll show you then. Okay, once again, nothing crazy here, but I folded the leather over and made sure it's clamped really well. Let's see. Tie all the way down and into the curvatures, and then down into the curvature of the blade tip. We're going to leave plenty extra because we're going to stitch along the side and then trim back. Alright, so we have our pieces cut and formed, and so we have the piece I've showed you, the piece we clamped. We have a spacer, and I'll show you what that means. And then the belt loop we'll cut down a little bit. The spacer here is a tracing of the outer part, kind of the outer blade of the knife. And you do that by placing the knife on the leather and then cutting out the strip next to it, following that contour. And so I'm gonna put the camera down, get these together, and we're gonna start stitching. I'm using a Sailrite fabricator machine with an 18 gauge needle and size 69 nylon thread. This is, an expensive machine, and it's a nice machine, and it makes the job really easy. I've also got a $200 leather stitch cobbler machine that would do the job really well, and of course it can be done by hand. But since we have this machine, we're going to use it today. Alright, so as you can see, we're going to stitch this together. But first we need to put on the belt loop, so I've cut my loop. And this was the failure here, was I went back and forth too much and I compromised the leather, and it was a thinner piece of leather, so hopefully this one will hold a little better. We could use some sticky tape, some double-sided tape. I also get this from Sailrite to hold this in place, but I think I can manage. When I do this piece, as you can see, I will be sticking everything right where I want it along that line before I stitch it, but we've got to get this on first, so let's do that now. And make sure it's on the right side. Right there at the end of the handle. Now the foot I'm using isn't the best foot for this, but I just don't feel like changing it just for this. So I'm going to dial down my stitch length. So I have this set for some canvas work. And we're going to try that if we're happy with our location. I'm going to seat the needle. While holding our tails, which is our thread. And we're just going to travel by hand a little bit. And see, I'm gotten right down to my last stitch, and I want to make sure it's on there. good, and it is. Okay, I want to take a peek. I think we're doing good. So we're going to raise our presser foot. We're going to turn with our needle down. We're going to come up one. Then we're going to go back down the same path. So we're creating a small box. Just one stitch wide. And I am going to backtrack, and putting the same holes here would be great. It's a little hard to tell with such a bulky presser foot. Okay, and I've completed the bottom line, and I loosen it, and we're gonna trim and trim. And so I've gotten a little oil on it, but that's our first stitch, and we're gonna mimic that up here. I think that's gonna be pretty good. I might could do a little bit smaller stitch length, maybe once I get onto the next part. Still like that location. So I'm starting in the middle of my back of my box. And we're going in till the corner, and hopefully it hits right where we want it. That's a great corner. Okay, now come in. And do what I did before, is make that complete box. It's easier just to do this by hand. This machine can do a couple thousand stitches per minute, I think, and I don't want to do that right now. Okay, I'm going to modify that one just a little. Okay, there we go, right on the corner. Coming back down that bottom line, or the outside square. Trim the bobbins. Alright, first part done. We just want to come back and burn those, and if you were concerned about oil getting on it, I would have wiped my foot down because it sometimes drips a little oil, but no big deal here. This is all natural patina, oil rubbed in and just usage, so I know this will become the same look. Okay, now for the final stitches, we're going to peel this tape, get this placed right along that very concise edge. You can see where the knife was. Right now. This tape can help waterproof a stitch in certain, depending on what you're doing. We're going to start down at the tip. In this case, we're just using it to hold things in place. We're going to be placing this right off the line. It has to wiggle just a little bit for us. Okay. Okay. Kind of see what it follows. Now we're going to peel this side and stick our other side down. And you do want to go slow when you're sewing through this much tape. It can gum the machine up. Where the thread goes through the needle and things. Sometimes a little, get your seam ripper out. There we go. Alright, so this we just kind of have to trust a little bit more. And we're going to flex Looks at about. So what we're actually looking at is 3 layers total. There's a spare layer put in this to kind of keep your knife off the stitching. And the most important thing is this knife originally came with a sheath that was terrible. I lost it several times and I said I finally have to make one. And I easily made a sheath that holds the knife completely upside down even when you shake. And that's because of the way the knife is made and the way this little kind of guard right here locks right in on that stitch. So right around here we're going to be very particular to come in just a little bit and lock that in. Make sure that knife's locked in. And we're going to do the box formation on this too. That way we just start in one spot kind of down the line and end up back there as well. Let me see, I'm going to help myself a little bit here. I'm putting this chalk line in. It's hard to see underneath the light. I'm going to run right outside that chalk line so that the stitches aren't exposed to the blade, rather that piece of leather is. All right. We're just going to take it real easy. Okay, needles down, lift my foot. I'm going to come over one stitch and then go back down the line and end up back up here, or back at my starting point. I did adjust the stitch length down a little bit, so you'll see a little bit tighter stitching. Alright, so I really didn't have my machine adjusted just right for leather stitching, but that's okay. You can see some of the tension could have been a little bit better, but there is our basic stitch down. I'm a little wobbly, but that's okay. I just do this for fun, do this for me, and I've got to get some of this. There we go. There it is. Okay, now this would be a great time to do a test fit. And a little tight. is good. Oh yeah, that's nice and tight. And there's plenty on the tip, so I'm not poking. That'll wear in real good. So tight's good at first. It will get looser. So we're gonna trim. So we can burnish these ends. As you see, they're really rough, and I'll show you a little bit of that, but you always want to burn your tails if you're using synthetic fiber. Smush that down and it's gonna help hold. Alright, final product. You can see how tightly the sheath holds to the pants, which I really appreciate, and it can even really disappear with the proper shirt. So works really well, and it's a little tight for the beginning period, so I kind of help it out, but it works quite well. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's this easy, simple sheath design. Stay tuned for more.